couple of years have passed and Naruto and Hinata have grown quite a bit. They were now both 10 years old, and each of them were slightly taller than kids of the same age due to their constant training. Both Naruto and Hinata were very strong when compared to the others of their age, if you could even compare. In the academy, physical shinobi conditioning and training only start when the students are 12 years old, in which they learn the academy taijutsu style coupled with ninjutsu. If they were to face Naruto or Hinata, they would get demolished. They were both well-rounded shinobi, however Naruto still couldn't cast a low-level genjutsu without Sharingan to save his life. Actually, he found it easier to cast high-ranking genjutsus that required more chakra than low-level ones. Even though Naruto forced a lot in chakra control, bringing it to Jonin levels, he still couldn't do a single clone. He either did at least 50 or the one will fail. Naruto finally mastered the bow step but decided to learn Kenjutsu since his mother was one of the best in the Leaf. Since he couldn't get into most shops, he bought a couple of books in weapons forging. Since he had a fire nature, he decided to forge his own weapons with scrap metal and other weapons he found in training fields. In time, he would buy chakra metal for a proper sword. In fact, both of them learned Kenjutsu and the same style, however Naruto favored speed and strength, and Hinata, being more flexible, preferred to dodge the strikes. This type of Kenjutsu style, much like his taijutsu, was based on his parrying or dodging the attacks, with quick strikes meant to end the battle in one strike. This was the Kenjutsu style of the Uzumaki clan. Kushina, before her death, was on par with the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist. This group was composed of the greatest swordsmen of the Mist, and were not to be underestimated. In fact, each of their swords had special abilities that favored each of their styles. Kushina in fact was known as Konoha's Red Death, due to her crimson red hair color. Naruto also learned the Gentle Fist with Hinata and both practiced until perfected. Even though Naruto's Sharingan couldn't see the chakra points, he adapted the style for pressure points. One of the problems they had was Hinata's low chakra pool, so they focused on that for almost all of last year, and managed to increase her levels quite a bit. She had low Jonin chakra levels and Kage level control. Naruto had high Kage chakra levels and Jonin level control. Naruto realized that Hinata was actually quite proficient in the Gentle Fist, and asked her why her family treated her that badly when she was quite talented. The fact was that in order to learn the Gentle Fist efficiently and train their stances and techniques, one would have to use another as a test subject, and closing tenketsus was quite painful, so Hinata refused to do that on branch members. Hinata was too kind to even try and harm someone in order to train, but with Naruto, that wasn't a problem. Naruto used the Shadow Clone techniques to provide Hinata as much guinea pigs as she wanted. In doing so, her techniques skyrocketed and even managed to hold their ground against Naruto and Taijutsu. In ninjutsu, they both mastered their chosen affinities, and the jutsu they had. Hinata started in wind, and Naruto started in lightning. One interesting fact was that Naruto discovered was that he had a lightning affinity similar to the second Hokage's water affinity. In fact, Naruto wasn't really a senser in the normal term since he didn't sense chakra. Naruto, due to his lightning affinity, could actually feel the bioelectricity of the people around him. Knowing that he had such an affinity, he started investing more and more in this element. He went to his father's library and gathered all the lightning techniques that he could. Now we find Naruto walking through the village, heading for the Hokage Tower. The villagers still sent the usual glares, and they would still try and harm him, but now with his training, he managed to escape. He could have fought them, but he chose not to harm them. He didn't want to give the poor Hokage more paperwork. Hokage Tower. He arrived at the Hokage Tower and made his way up. Arriving at the Hokage's office, he turned to the secretary. He never did like her, and the feeling was mutual. She was one of the idiotic civilians who couldn't tell the difference between a scroll and a sealed kunai. Just let it go, kid. Someday, they will understand, the Kyuubi said. Naruto nodded inwardly. Morning, I came to talk with the Hokage. Is he available? Naruto asked politely, as he for once didn't want trouble. She looked up and saw the thing in front of her, and with a disgusting face said, "What would the Hokage want with a thing like you?" she spat. "You should be careful on how you address me. One wrong word, and I have permission to separate your head from your shoulders," he said in a serious tone, while releasing a bit of ki, killing her tent, as she was a civilian and too much would kill her. The Hokage will see you now," she quickly said, fearing for her life while showing a false smile. Naruto opened the door to see a smiling face of the Hokage. "Naruto, how have you been?" the Hokage asked. I'm fine. Actually, I have a favor to ask you, he said, to which the Hokage raised an eyebrow. I'll do my best. What do you need? He said. Well, you see, I'm running a bit low on cash this month, and I know that I'm not a shinobi yet, but would it be possible for me to get a couple of D-rings? He said, looking at the Hokage's thinking face. The Hokage pondered the situation. Genin's always hate these missions, and they tend to stockpile besides. It couldn't hurt, he thought. Sure, Naruto, but do you realize these missions are normally done with the Jonin sensei and their Genin squad, so they will take long for you, he said. No problem, old man. I can create my own army if I need, Naruto said, placing his fingers in a cross form. Channeling some chakra, and in a puff of smoke, 20 clones appeared in the office. The Hokage's jaw hit the floor, seeing a 10-year-old pull a B-rank Kinjutsu. Where did you learn that? You do realize that technique is a Kinjutsu for its massive chakra usage, he said, trying to make sure Naruto understood the dangers of the technique. Relax, old man. I copied it when I was watching Kakashi and a weird guy named Guy in green spandex shouting something about flames of youth bar. Besides, I have a crap ton of chakra. I can easily make 1,000 clones and still be in fighting condition, he said with a smirk. Hokage nodded slowly. God, he can make 1,000 clones at 10 years old? I know he's a Jinchuriki, but damn, he'll be a chakra powerhouse, he thought. Okay, Naruto, since you still aren't an official ninja, I'll give you the missions, and later, when you become one, I'll add them to your file. Come with me to the mission room, Hokage said, and they both left the Hokage's office, heading towards the mission room. Konoha's mission room. So, let's see what we got here, the Hokage said, going through the available missions. How many do you want? Seeing as you can create a bunch of clones, I think you'll be able to clear out a workload, the Hokage continued. Naruto pondered. Give me 10 missions. If I have time today, I'll do a few more. Besides, Hinata decided to go visit Kurenai, so I'll have the day for the missions, Naruto said, picking the scrolls and opening the first. Damn cat, Naruto thought as he read the first mission. It was to retrieve a fearsome beast. The name of said beast was Tora, the one-tailed demon cat. Oh please, I got 8 more tails, the Kyuubi said. Besides, we can always burn Naruto, crisp, and blame every ninja, the Kyuubi said, chuckling, and Naruto's sweat dropped. A few hours later. Come here, Tora. Here, kitty, 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 Naruto said, trying to approach the cat without having her fleeing. Naruto channeled chakra to his legs and jumped, catching the cat. Tora didn't find it much fun as she started clawing him all over the place. Oh hell, I'm tired of this, Naruto said, activating his Sharingan. He looked at Tora and said, shackling stakes. A Kenjutsu paralyzed Tora, and Naruto said, Hellfire Jutsu. This new genjutsu made Tora think she was being burned alive. Stupid cat. Naruto chuckled evilly as Tora screamed in pain. The Kyuubi seeing this, sweat dropped, and I thought, I got a dumbass for a container. Next mission, helping farmer. Naruto made his way for his next mission. He read the scroll, and the mission was to cultivate a piece of land since the farmer didn't have enough time to do it himself. Naruto arrived at the site. The farmer's house was actually almost outside of the village, and the land itself was fairly big. Judging from the size of the land, it most likely was for planting the vegetables and later selling them. Naruto approached the client and started doing his job. The client didn't seem too happy that they sent the demon brat, but at least the Kyuubi would work for him. Almost an hour was due, and Naruto continued his work using a hoe to groom the land peacefully and undisturbed until SLAM! A noise echoed through the clearing as the sound of metal clashing. Naruto removed a couple of inches of dirt until he saw a metal door in the ground. What the hell is this? Naruto thought as he moved to open the hatch. Once opened, he saw a bunch of stairs that seemingly led underground. As a curious kid, he made his way carefully down. As he was going down, he couldn't help but notice the smell. One of the things of having the Kyuubi inside of him was that it gave enhanced senses, primarily smell and hearing. The smell itself was of death and putrefaction. Something isn't right here, Naruto thought as he began to explore what appeared to be a vast underground base with a long corridor with multiple rooms connected. Checking a few rooms, even he couldn't help himself but to throw up. There was a room of skeletons of people and a few others still decomposing. Going in further and checking another room, he could see the vials spread along the table with strange colored liquids, and he wisely decided it was best not to touch them. As he continued exploring the base, he kept wondering how could this exist here and be kept a secret. Judging by the looks of it, it seemed that whoever lived here left in a hurry. This smell... snakes? Naruto was thinking when suddenly he pieced together the facts. He read in the library about a shinobi that used snake to summons, and defected Konoha after he was found doing twisted experiments with children that he kidnapped. Orochimaru, the snake Sanin, Naruto concluded and made a shadow clone, and said, "Go tell the old man." The clone left, and Naruto continued exploring, gazing into the room so he could have a brief idea of what it contained. One of the rooms appeared to be a small study room. Entering the room and making his way to the table, he saw a few seals and multiple vials of blood with various names on them. Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju, Minato Namikaze, and a few others Naruto didn't recognize. What could Orochimaru possibly want with the blood of my father, not to mention the Senju brothers? Naruto kept wondering until he saw a few notes written in what seemed to be a diary. He continued to read until... that twisted bastard. Hokage office. Hiruzen was having a normal day in his office, and by normal, I say he was cursing Minato for leaving him with the paperwork when suddenly he saw Naruto bursting through the door. "Old man!" Naruto started. "I think I found one of Orochimaru's old bases," to which the Hokage yelled. "What?" "I was doing one of the missions and I was cultivating a field until I hit a metal hatch. After opening it and checking inside it, I reeked of snakes and there were dead bodies all over," Naruto said. "Anbu," the Hokage said, and in front of him appeared an Anbu with a weasel mask, kneeling before the Hokage and waiting for orders. "Bring me Ibuki and Ango." "Yes, Lord Hokage," the Anbu said and vanished in a puff of smoke. The Hokage turned to Naruto. "Naruto, are you the original?" he asked, which Naruto shook his head negatively. "Boss is in checking the rest of the base and making sure no one enters it," the clone responded. "Then tell him to continue guarding the entrance until Ango and Ibuki arrive, then tell him to come here immediately afterwards," the Hokage said, getting a nod before the clone dispersed. Orochimaru base. Naruto was still going through the base until the memories of the clone hit him, and he stopped and gathered what he was doing and made his way to the entrance. Naruto waited a couple of minutes before a man and a woman dropped in front of him. The man was about 6'4" and wore traditional black Anbu pants and a black jacket. He also wore a long-sleeved black jacket and a scarf that covered the top of his head. The man had a few scars on his face. Naruto recognized him from a couple of pranks he pulled. He was Ibuki Morino, a special jonin and the commander of Konoha's torture and interrogation force. Besides Ibuki was a woman who was approximately 5'5". She wore full-body mesh armor with a short brown skirt and a long trench coat. She had purple pineapple-style hair and brown eyes. Naruto assumed that this woman was Anko. Naruto, facing both of them, turned towards the woman and said, "I assume you are Anko." "Yes, I am Anko Mitarashi," she exclaimed, pumping her fist in the air, to which Naruto's sweat dropped. "I was doing a D-rank, and I came across this base, and after exploring it I concluded it belonged to Orochimaru, so I informed the Hokage. My work is done. Knock yourself out," Naruto said, and left towards the Hokage's office. Hokage's office. Naruto arrived at the Hokage's office and saw him with a saddened and thoughtful look. Naruto assumed it had to do with Orochimaru. After all, he was one of Hiruzen's most prized students, a genius that came only once in a lifetime. However, he got caught in his own ambitions. "I'm here, old man," Naruto said, getting the Hokage's attention. "I don't even know if this should be called luck or not," the Hokage said, sighing. Was Naruto's genius of an answer? "You said that you were low on cash and wanted a few D-rank missions, and you ended up finding one of my old students' laboratories." Naruto nodded, and the Hokage continued. "Since you found it, I'm upgrading the mission to an S rank. You are never to speak of it, and everything you found inside, you are never to reveal. Are we clear?" the Hokage said, in a serious and demanding tone. "Yes, Lord Hokage," Naruto replied, as if he was a usual shinobi that brought a small smile to the man's face. "I would call it luck," Naruto said, grinning. "Well then, I'm gonna get going. See you later, old man," he said, and the Hokage nodded. Once Naruto left the room, the Hokage leaned back in his chair and lost in his thoughts. "The wonders of D-ranks," the Hokage thought, chuckling to himself. He got out of his thoughts and got back to work. The Hokage looked at the amount of paperwork and yelled, "Damn you, Minato!"